Hello, I'm Nigel Croft. Welcome to TA for Traders. It's Monday the 19th of June. In this video, we'll be looking at 4 UK stocks. Now, Amazon has just acquired Whole Foods in the US. Big deal, 13 billion US dollars. It's had repercussions in the UK and we've seen the food retailers fall. So we'll be looking at TSCO, which remains in its downtrend. We'll be looking at Sainsbury, which is at key support levels, both on the daily and on the weekly chart. We'll also look at companies that have had figures. We'll look at TR Property Investment Trust, TRY, and we'll also look at Berkeley Group, where the figures are coming out on Wednesday. So starting with TSCO, and you can see the effect that the Amazon deal has had on the share price. A plummet on Friday, and today we did mount a small recovery, but we're now moving down to the downside again. What you can see is that this downtrend line has been in place for actually the last couple of videos I've done on TSCO. That's drawn through the highs of 26th of Jan and there, which is the 9th of December. So I was always looking at this downtrend line, and we did marginally get back above it last week, but not significantly, and we've now obviously broken back below. That's turned the moving averages all around, although it's only the 20-day which actually had been moving back up. That's now tracking downwards and will cross back through the downtrending 50-day moving average tomorrow. That will create a bearish signal, a bear cross, and so for the medium term does signify further downside. Other indicators was the volume that we had on Friday is another indicator that should be watched. That was very high. It's a bad signal when we come off on high volume. The RSI is negative in a downtrend and is below 50, and you can see that the MACD have just started to diverge. Short term going below the longer term and below zero. So that's an insight that the negative momentum's increasing, and that's shouting a sell signal as well. Looking at the medium term, here you can see the weekly chart. You can see the downtrend that I've drawn, how significant that is. We continue to trade down in this trend. Really, one can't see supports until we're down below or around about the 160 level. Again, on this chart, the RSI is negative at 39.62, and the MACD are just starting to diverge below the zero. On the short term, looking at the 4 hour, here you can see that all the moving averages are now moving downwards, which is bearish for any rally. You can't see any supports on the time frame of this chart. Obviously, Friday's low, which is about the 168, would be a key support. Maybe we're becoming slightly oversold on the 4 hour. The RSI is now down at 24. You can see back in April. That when it bottomed around this level, we did then have a bit of a rally. So maybe people will be starting to bottom fish at this level, hoping for a rally. Any short-term rally should be seen in the negative context, and with the resistance starting at 178. MACD are a bit extended from each other. So one would really expect that gap to narrow in the short term. Looking at the support resistances on TSCOs, and we've got the first resistance at the 50-day 181.61, and then the next resistance 185 with support 167.75, and then nothing until 1 253. Moving along to Sainsbury, again hit heavily by the Amazon announcement on Friday. Here you can see that we're trading around the 20-day moving average, sorry, the 200-day moving average, which is giving support. There's also support from the double kind of bottom that we had in April, so that's quite a key. If these supports can hold, it could push us back up towards the moving averages. The 50 days presently at 268.47, but if it fails, the next supports are not seen down until about the 242 level. RSI is negative in a downtrend, and the MACD also are shouting a sell signal of negative momentum. On the weekly, and here you can see it's the 50-week moving average which is moving up and giving the support. Again, if it doesn't hold, one should expect move down to the low mid 240s quite quickly. On the upside, there is resistance. The 20-week is at 266 and is tracking downwards. And looking at the 4-hour, here you can see that we're in a severe downtrend. Yes, we've bounced, but we're moving into the resistance at around the 262, and then the 24-hour will come into play at 263. Negative momentum remains in place as the RSI is only up to 38, and the MACD as well showing negative momentum. On the support resistance levels for Sainsbury, first resistance is at the 24-hour 263.46, and second resistance is at that 20-week 266.25. But let me emphasize, the key for this Sainsbury's are these support levels: the 200-day 255.91, and then the 50-week at a level of 252.59. Okay, moving on to a company had figures today, TR Property Investment Trust. I must disclose I do own these shares, and what you can see is that there's been a consolidation over the last few days. This has been on quite high volume. Slight concern to me. I mean, this is just a flag in the bull run, and we're getting support today from the 20-day moving average. So because of that, I'm going to say stick with the shares. However, we are losing upside momentum. You can see that the RSI is now in a downtrend. We also, on the high of the 8th of June, had a non-confirmation on the RSI, in that it didn't reach the highs that it had previously reached, and yet the stock went to a new high. So that was a negative. So the RSI is slightly negative, although it is still above 50, presently at 58.86. Also, the MACD have just rolled. They're well above zero, but they have started to diverge to the downside, indicating that the downside momentum is building. On the weekly, and you can see the move we've had. We had this long-term flag that broke to the upside. To me, what we're having now is we'll have another flag, just a consolidation to the side. Maybe even drift to maybe the 340 over this period, but then we will start to move to the upside again. And looking at the short term, looking at the 4-hour, I'm sorry, but there's been a bad tick on this one, so it's hard to view. But I think we can see that we are at the moving averages are rolling down, giving a bit of resistance, and that we've moved up in the last today, which has ticked up the RSI back above 50, and the MACD also has improved. But it's hard to interpret because of that bad tick. Looking at the support resistances, Resistance 1, 354.4, 2 at 54.92, with supports 45.5 and 43.5. Finally, moving on to a company that's coming out with figures on Wednesday, Berkeley Group. Here you can see that today we've moved back above the moving averages. The 20-day has been resistance as it's been moving down over the last couple of days. We've broken back above that. We've also broken back above the 50-day moving average, which is moving up. So we'll get a positive influence from there. As long as we remain above those moving averages, we will get the 20-day rolling upwards, and then eventually in 7 to 10 days we'll get it moving back through the 50-day, which could give a push higher. The RSI is indicating positive momentum. It's in an uptrend and is presently at 54.27, and the MACD also just started to flash a buy signal. On the weekly, and you can see that we broke the downtrend pattern with the move up in December, and we then had a flag and a move up. This could now be kind of like an elongated, the next flag. We came back and we did find support at the 20-week moving average, which was positive, and the resistance is seen at 3400. Any move above there could see a break up to the next resistance at £36. RSI is it's lost a bit of its momentum, but it's still above 50, and the MACD are flatlining. On the 4-hour, again we've moved back above all the moving averages. I expect them to all turn round. Already the 20 and the 200 are moving upwards, and the 50 will soon follow. Again, you can see we're in an uptrend on the RSI, and the MACD again indicative of positive. Resistance here, if the upside's maintained, is at 33.60, with that 200 4-hour giving the support 32.25. Looking at the support resistance, resistance at 33.74, 34.18, and then supports 32.35, excuse me, which is the 20-day, and then, as I said, 32.25, which is the 200 4-hour moving average. Thanks for watching TA for Traders. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've had to rattle through all the shares, but I hope you got the key points there on TSCO Sainsbury's, TR Property Investment Trust and Berkeley Group. Please remember, the videos I do on YouTube are for educational purposes only and are my opinions, and in no way are they meant as an investment recommendation. Thank you.